So welcome everyone to our today session, and our focus will be latest trends across the HXM and payroll space. Actually, we have a very exciting program in the front of us, but before we start, let me introduce our guest speaker, Pablo Zandrera, Director Business Development SAP Success Factors. Then we have Spinifex IT team, Frank Schiek, Regional Vice President. Then Stephanie Aller, Director of Partner and Engagements. Brandon Andrew Varmut, Vice President for Product Enablement and Delivery. Then Theo Theis, Director of Channel and Alliance. And Adrian Wosnicka, Solution Consultant. And at the end, myself, Anna Bator, also Solution Consultant. This is our agenda for today. Frank will open the session today. Then our guest will speak about the latest HXM trends for this year. Afterwards, he will transfer this information into the Rise with SAP program. This is very important because, as you may know, Spinifex IT is a part of this Rise program, and we are registered migration partner. After that, Brandon will talk about our solution updates, and then he will share with us customer success story. At the end, we will go back to the Frank, and he will give us partner updates. At the end, we are planning also Q&A session. So this is the space to ask some question. One thing might be important for you. You will receive recording and slides from this session after presentation.
Yeah, thank you very much for the introduction, Anna. And also it was very nice to learn more about coffee, mainly because coffee is a default drink for consultants, as you may know. Before I start, I will switch off my camera because to network reasons, and then I will switch it on again when we have the Q&A. So, but now I think it's time to bother you with some numbers before we start. So in one of the latest Deloitte studies, 69% of the respondents are saying that HR controlling involves a lot of manual work. And I think it's still so. 33% say that HR is still working historical grown processes. 44% work with processes which are partially supported through software. Only 44%. If you look at these numbers, I think we can paint a very coherent picture. I hope you agree. Therefore, the question comes up, is a change needed? I will answer the question with another study where many respondents agree on that and confirm that a change is necessary and also that the change needs technology. In that survey, 75% of the respondents are saying that technology is needed. So if you now look back at the figures on the left, from my point of view, the numbers are understandable. I hope you agree again. But good for now, I would not stress you with too much statistics, just as an introduction. So now I'm proud to present you to Pablo. As said at the beginning by Anna, he will let us know about the latest HXM trends and how to run that journey together with SAP Rise and Spinifex IT. So Pablo, the stage is yours.
Great. So thank you very much to Spinifex for having me. We are going to talk about two very different topics, but that are very much related. which is first we are going to talk about the management trends for 2022 and beyond, the human resources management trends. And that is a very good segue into why we launched RISE for HXM. What is the HXM concept and how does the SAP strategy integrate with the human resources management trends that we are seeing right now? And one thing that is interesting to know is that at this moment, human resources management is changing faster than it has ever changed. New tendencies, new strategies, and changes forced by the current events like the global pandemic or the scarcity of resources, scarcity of talent, and many other trends are making human resources management change really fast. And there are many trends that we see. You in that slide, you see several of them, but I want to center myself in 5 main trends and 1 underlying principle. Okay. The first main trend that we see is flexible work. The pandemic has accelerated a tendency that we have been seeing for a while, and that is that the way we work has fundamentally changed. Okay, remote work, when possible, obviously, is going to become the norm and seen as strategic. And one thing that I'm going to repeat several times throughout the presentation is nobody's forced to follow these trends, but if companies do not react and provide what employees want, they are going to lose the fight for talent. Okay, so remote work is also going to be seen as strategic for retaining employees, for keeping employees happy, and for being perceived as a good place to work. Where possible, and we are obviously there are some jobs where this is not possible, but where possible, a hybrid strategy is going to be seen as the default strategy, what everybody should do by default. And more than the place that you work, the times that you work, and being flexible also in the timing of your work, as long as the objectives are met, is going to be to matter more than the place where you work. Okay, and there are several aspects that companies are going to have to take into consideration, like addressing the proximity bias, because when we talk about teams, we will see that distributed teams and teams composed of employees and people that are not necessarily full employees of the company is going to become the standard too. So addressing proximity bias is going to be important. Improving on meetings, and if we talk about consulting firms, remote implementations are also going to become the norm. Okay, the second big pillar that we see is experience, and there you are going to say, okay, yeah, but you are SAP and you are very insistent in that experience is important. You call your product human experience management, but it's not only us. Every analyst, every strategic consulting firm, the main consulting powerhouses in the industry, they all agree that employee experience is going to become one of the most important drivers of business and of employee satisfaction. And what we talk about is not necessarily experience, but human experience. Okay, the experience that each of and every one of the people that interact with your company have. Okay, and there are several trends or sub-trends within this one, like trust in leadership is going to become even more important, and the individual employee experience and providing a platform for the people that work with you, not necessarily your employees, but everybody that works with you, a platform for them to find meaning through their work is going to be really important. And companies are going to have to specialize and adapt and help their employees also specialize and adapt. And we are going to have to create environments that are inclusive and positive with everything that those employees or those people, those humans need, like the right tools and the right recognition and the right culture. And the management is going to need to be targeted to that, so we can support our people life. Okay. The next pillar that we see is adaptive organizations. Organizations are going to fundamentally change, and the typical structure that you picture in your head when you see an organizational structure, it's not going to quite work as it did before. And we are going to need to address several problems like organizational resilience. Our organizations are going to have to sustain all the problems that we are facing right now. And organizations are going to become much more complex, and therefore the tools that we use to manage those organizations are going to have to be up to speed, so we can cope with the structures that we see, with matrix-based structures, with structures where we have people that work for us and are our employees, and people that work part-time, and people that are outside of our organization, but also participate in the teams that we work with. What we see, the concept of super teams. So not only a department within our organization, but teams comprised of people from our company, people from outside our company, people from our customers, and everybody working together, and we are going to have to manage that. And all that data has to also be managed. So the strategies that design our organizations and are used to manage our organizations are going to have to fundamentally change. The fourth pillar that we see is focusing on the skills of the people that work with us. Again, not only our employees, but everybody that works with us. And there are several steps for this. First, we are going to have to cover the critical skills that we need, and not only having the knowledge, but using that knowledge to compete in the market through our workforce. So reskilling and upskilling our employees and the extended teams that we work with is going to become even more strategic. And not only reskilling, but discovering the potential of the people that work with us and unleashing that potential. And why is this more important now? Because we are seeing a fierce war in talent to get the right people. And not only we are going to have to look for talent outside of our organization, but we are going to have to evaluate the potential of the people that work with us and increase that potential, or tap that potential as much as we can to provide the talent that we need to feed those complex processes. And not only we are going to have to hire outside, but we are going to have bench strength, because attrition and changes in our structures are going to become even higher. Okay. So the objective of reskilling and upskilling our workforce in the short term is going to have to be supporting changes in the business that are becoming faster, as I said before, and in the medium term, supporting business recovery from those changes. The last pillar that I see is what we have been talking about for years in SAP. Not only human resources management systems have to manage processes and data, but they have to also help through several schemes to try to guarantee diversity and equity and inclusion. And they have to provide a way to listen to employees and get feedback and react to it. And we have not only to provide work-life balance, which is a given at this moment, we have to design our teams and the work that they do to ensure the well-being of our employees. Because at this moment in time, and this we call it treat all employees fairly and like adults. Okay. There was a management trend of treating employees like children and micromanaging them and controlling them. This has been time and time again proven not to work very well, and certainly not to work very well to retain our employees. So what we need to do now is treat them like adults and help them thrive within our organizations. Because there was this idea that salary and job title were the measure of success. In the newer generations and in the newer view from our management, this is not a good measure anymore. A better measure, much better measure, is job title and salary are two factors, but health, both mental and physical, from our employees, and the time where they are not working and being fulfilled and liking what you do is much more important. And if we are in a war of talent, we are only going to win if we provide what our employees want. And that underlying principle that was below those pillars, we talked about how to adapt quickly to the needs of the workforce. We talked about listen to the employees and react immediately. We talked about optimize resources. We talk about react to market and internal changes. We talked about listen to the employee and react quickly to bias, quickly to needs and instantly to bias. And all of that is called agility. So the underlying principle that all these pillars have is agility. And this has been one of the biggest management trends, not only in human resources, but all throughout the whole management of enterprises in the last year. And we predict that it's going to be a trend in the future, even more important. Agility is going to be in the future. And those were the management trends that we see in human resources. And how is SAP going to react to them? How is SAP going to react to those management trends, and what are we going to do about them? People are critical in any business transformation. So in a world where an organization is continually needed to evolve, people are even more important. So what are the advantages of combining not only the enterprise processes or the other enterprise processes, but human resources in the same platform? The advantages are many and really critical. We see there several statistics. This comes from various studies, but one main study that we have been following is Deloitte's 2021 Global Human Capital Trends. And they highlight that organizational preparedness hinges on the ability to bring human strength like decision making or adaptability forward. Not only during a specific point in time crisis like the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic or the crisis that we are facing now, but continually. Okay, it means perpetually cultivating resilience and judgment and flexibility, agility again, so we can navigate a reality that is shifting and that is changing. Okay, and most organizations are not necessarily prepared to cope with this business transformation. So what are, again, the advantages of combining human resources and enterprise processes in a single platform? Aligning and integrating human resources and enterprise business processes has a lot of advantages. We can strengthen the connection between human resources practice, workforce capability, the financial performance, and the operational efficiency, and integrate everything with business results. We can get one source of human resources data. We can have real-time financial information and real-time financial analysis also. We get a more effective collaboration. We reduce integration costs. We get a much faster technology adoption, because technology adoption hinges on employees adopting that technology as fast as we want. And we get faster changes, faster processes, and better data. Okay. So with S/4HANA integrated with SAP SuccessFactors solutions, you can have your human resources data fully integrated with operational data and with experience data. And that creates direct links between supply chain, finance, sales, manufacturing, and point of sale systems, and human resources systems that support things like training or development or staffing or collaboration or performance management or compensation. So this is the power of S/4HANA and SAP SuccessFactors solutions. It's a new way of working, because by offering a simplified commercial model for SAP customers that are at any point in their journey, we can provide more flexible pathways and predictable cost of migration, so they can benefit from cloud economics while reducing risks. Okay, we can combine RISE with SAP offering with human resources, with several solutions like SuccessFactors, the full suite of SuccessFactors human experience management solutions, and Qualtrics Employee XM and SAP Workzone for HR, to structure for the success of your technological journey, reskill to innovate and operationally transform your business. Okay, and this includes the next generation cloud delivery and the tools and services to support your whole journey. And RISE with SAP allows you to structure for success by building the people foundation for successful business transformation, reskill your process and technical teams with the training required to support the change and drive adoption for new technology, as well as increase the speed of innovation, and operationally transform the business with easy access to people and finance data. Okay, and all of this at Sapphire now, which is going to happen in May, we will launch our now RISE with SAP for HXM offering. So we can accelerate customers' people transformation and provide a solid foundation for ongoing business success. Okay, depending on a customer specific situation, there are 3 concise transformation scenarios to accelerate tangible transformational outcomes. Okay, so let's have a closer look to the solutions included in the RISE for HXM bundle. Okay, first and foremost is SAP S/4HANA, which is the intelligent ERP to transform the whole business operations with capabilities that use artificial intelligence, including finance and asset management, manufacturing, research and development, engineering, sales and service, procurement, supply chain, sourcing, and all the rest of solutions. Then we have Employee Central, and Employee Central is a reliable and consistent system of record. So every type of company and their very diverse mobile employees can quickly answer the question, what does my organization look like? It provides information on organizational units, even more complex every day, like we talked about before, and the positions in one platform. And that organization is not only relevant for decision makers, but for all the attached processes that we see in the rest of the ERP. And this structure is very flexible, and it provides endless possibilities of how this can be configured and managed. Then we have WorkZone for HR as one single entry point. It provides a intuitive digital workplace experience, and it enables easy access to every relevant business application and processes, adaptive user experience and user interface, and the information and workflows and communication in one single entry point that can be individualized, not only company by company, but department by department, and even person by person if necessary. Okay. And it is a solution that empowers your teams to communicate and engage without requiring IT infrastructure to support. Okay. Then we have SuccessFactors Learning and all the learning platforms that SuccessFactors provides that help build a culture of change. Okay. We talked about how reskilling and upskilling is necessary, and it's going to become a competitive advantage, and we need to enable this. So anticipating what our employees need and our customers demand, and how technologies are going to be changing, and making our employees capable of anticipating this and using the new technologies and reskilling them is going to be fundamentally important for any organization. And through our solutions, we try to give a modern approach to transform the experience and the skills of employees to ensure business agility and success. And then Employee XM for IT. We need to get information on how every change is impacting the whole organization. And we need to get that feedback, and we need to react to it, and we need to make it actionable. And we need to combine real-time behavioral insights with project management data to support the implementation processes and to support change. Again, as I said before, the most important part of change and the most important part of any transformation is the employees that have to support this. So we need to be able to proactively course correct to mitigate the risk of any project. And Employee XM for IT helps us with this. And then we have Employee Central Payroll, the payroll solution that is comprehensive, that covers more countries and more localizations than any in the market, and that allows organizations the ability to completely process all aspects of payroll in-house. And it has a huge breadth of features, and is provided along with mobile capabilities and a very good user experience with Payroll Control Center. And here I think, Frank, I give you a good segue to talk a little about how you integrate, how Spinifex IT integrates with our payroll capabilities.
Thanks, Pablo, for that. Yeah, you mentioned already agility. I like that, and also the for agility we need to have adaptive organizations. We need flexible work, and for flexible work you need hybrid tools. And that's why when Spinifex IT comes in, because one of our very most important strengths is the hybrid solutions we can offer to our customers and partners. So we have always access to any data of SuccessFactors and also SAP HCM. And as you said, with the payroll control center, we have also an extension to our Easy Reporter, which allows us to build very simple reports for the payroll control center. And what is very important, to publish them also to the payroll control center. So it's just a click on a button to publish a report to PCC instead of building very much development-based reports and publish them to PCC. So as I said at the beginning, so this is one of our most important strengths, to have this hybrid world and to have both worlds, the cloud and the on-premise hybrid, and we can bring them together, and this makes the payroll world and the work in the payroll much more easier and sufficient. Yeah, thanks.
Yes, this is a very good example on how the extensibility of the SAP SuccessFactors solutions and the ability to integrate with solutions from our partners make more powerful, more valid, and better the whole portfolio of SAP solutions. And we are very happy to count on you on Spinifex and to have your solutions integrate with ours and improve our solutions. Very quickly, let me finish with a couple more solutions, and then I will give you the rest of the time so you can dive better into what your offering and your portfolio is. But I want to mention also the new time tracking capabilities. So customers will be able to cover essential business processes, especially in industries like manufacturing, and increase the data accuracy needed for payroll processing for all types of workers, especially hourly paid workers. Okay, and this offering, combining the S/4HANA in ERP solution plus SuccessFactors solutions, is really gaining a lot of momentum in the market. We are combining our more than 16,000 S/4HANA customers with our more than 7,000 SAP SuccessFactors customers, and there are many benefits that are derived from it. But I want to focus, for instance, in Minda. We saw a 75 to 80% increase in employee productivity just by implementing the full suite and integrating it with the ERP, so we could find synergies between the lines of business and streamline those processes. We will be very happy to study how we can improve your processes, the processes of each one of our customers and each one of the companies that are attending this webinar. So please contact us or contact Spinifex directly, and let's have a conversation about how we can improve your management and how we can improve your bottom line in the end. And thank you very much. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you to Spinifex for inviting me.
All right. Yeah. So actually, we have heard a lot of buzzwords from you. I like it. So like remote work, super teams, hybrid is default, and so on. So as I said in the previous slide.
Great.
Yeah. So I said, so with these buzzwords, we need an aggressive computing power system when it comes to, or in regards to the CPU power, for sure. Therefore, companies need a cloud system, in particular when it comes to AI topics. Yeah. So, because only with a cloud system, companies can ensure that teams are really working flexible wherever they are in this world and can communicate online together. It is also very important to have the possibility to exchange documents and to work hybrid, for instance, when it comes to payroll process and other IT applications, as said before. And in particular, when companies have already a cloud system enabled, when they are working with talent and they want to ensure everything is combined with the on-premise world. So together with the modern workflow systems, managers and companies can ensure that things happen automatically and that recurring work can be automated. And this is also very important because nobody wants to do some very simple tasks or things. Everybody wants to ensure that these kind of things are automated. And for all that examples, this needs technology. Yeah. So with that said, companies should migrate to the cloud. They should really use what they have with SAP. However, our HR IT strategy is very important to take into account the sub-maintenance strategy, what we already know, and to avoid that a lot of projects happen at one time. So therefore, the time is now to migrate to the cloud in order to avoid many projects at one time. So we at Spinifex can help you to automate these kind of projects. With our long-term HR experience, we know what matters in the world, in the HR world in particular. With our tools, we can ensure project quality, we can reduce the project risk, and we can accelerate the migration project to the cloud. And that's quite important in this short-term world when it comes to IT projects. But now I will pause because I have the possibility to listen to Brendan now, and he will talk about the capabilities of our migration tools and the latest updates and features on our solutions.
So if you want to jump into the next slide, Anna, and we can start the discussion here. So I guess I really enjoyed the presentation from Pablo and the words from yourself, Frank. That was really good. Very high level, very important stuff to see where the market is going, what we should be doing, what the customers need to know. I'm going to dive a little bit deeper though. I'm a little bit more the detail guy here today for the presentation. I'm going to talk more to really specific things that we're building out, specific things that are going to help with those projects going forward. So for me, the main topic today, the solution updates, I'm going to give you an overview of, I guess, a little bit of everything from all of our solutions, but really the focus is on easy migration and easy go live, the tools that we built specifically to support those HXM move projects for SAP customers. So we've seen that as a high demand from our partners, from our customers, from the market overall, and that's why we built these solutions. So a quick view here on what the benefits are, and also to give you an idea that this is not a tool that was built day one and we said, okay, here's a brand new tool, we want you to go ahead and use it for all these really super important projects. No, these are tools that are built on our expertise, our knowledge, our existing solutions, our very mature, very powerful solutions that have been in the marketplace for a very long time. So easy migration and easy go live are bringing all of that capability, bringing all of that knowledge into one place and really helping to accelerate those migration projects, those implementation projects, those transformation projects that the customers are running. Yeah, so let's dive into the details. So what we're going to talk about mainly today is our release 2022 R1, which is currently in pilot phase. So that means it's already out with some of our customers. Some of our partners are using it for projects. Some of our customers are testing it and seeing some of the new capability in the real world. But it's going to be also released to the general public at the end of April. April 22nd is the current plan. There's quite a lot of updates there. I'm sorry, can you stay? Just quickly, a couple words, which is, yeah, like I said, there's a lot of updates in that across the entire suite. I will focus in detail on easy migration and easy go live, and I'll give you a little bit of a highlights for each of the other solutions. So you can go to the next slide. Thanks, Anna. So on the easy migration side, what we've really seen is it's already a tool that's very powerful, that's very well used by the partners in the market. So we're not adding a huge amount of, and it's not a fancy tool, you know, it's not something where we do a lot of, okay, we're going to give you a super nice front end that you can load in your browser. No, this is really a powerful technical tool to really help with those migration cases and help with those projects. What that means is the focus for the development of this tool is really, what does a project need? So, okay, we've come across a lot of more complex projects where they need more comprehensive transformations. We've seen customers saying, well, we have a lot of other tables we need to bring with us when we go across, not just the standard stuff, and we need it to really work fast. We want our project to really run on time, really run quickly, a lot faster than a standard kind of greenfields implementation or even brownfield implementation. You can go to the next slide, please. On the Easy Go Live side, we've seen, the data migration capabilities in Easy Go Live are very strong already. But again, we're seeing some more complex implementations. We're seeing some kind of different cases where we need to bring some new capability in. The main thing we'll talk about here is being able to actually bring data in from a non-SAP HCM system and use that as part of our migration process. So there's some exciting projects ongoing with that one at the moment. We can come to the next one. And then really the big part of all of the work that we're doing from the Easy Go Live perspective is focusing on the parallel run, so the payroll testing, and really building that tool out to be a very, very powerful tool, not just for the project, but also for business as usual after. So what we're seeing a lot of times is customers are saying, wow, that was really great. The parallel run process was a lot easier. We were able to track everything. We were able to audit everything. We were able to enable the specific team members to do what they needed to do. It would be really great if we had that on a day-to-day basis when we're running our payroll going forward as well. And that's where you see some of these things starting to come in, making it more usable, easier for the customers in the project as well. Okay, we can jump in. So now we get a little bit more detail on each of the points that we talked about. So the one, I think this is really, when we talk about the rise with SAP for HXM, we see a lot of really great stuff. Okay, yeah, you should move to the cloud. You should take all of your systems from the old systems and move them directly in the cloud, and wow, it's going to be amazing. But the reality is it's a complex process, especially those customers who have multiple SAP HCM systems already in their landscape. Maybe they have one per country, maybe they have two for different businesses they'd previously acquired. Maybe they want to do some carving out of different businesses before they move to the cloud. Those complex projects, those important IT infrastructure strategies need to be supported with powerful tools. And that's where this remapping capability for easy migration comes in. It really gives the partners or the customers, when they need to do it themselves, the ability to really transform that system, bring multiple systems together, carve out systems, but really harmonize a landscape and really manage a complex migration project without having to do it kind of outside the system. We can go to the next one. The other thing we talked about was, oftentimes what we've seen also is customers are coming to us and saying, hey, it's really great that you're migrating all of the standard configuration, but I have all this extra stuff that I've built over time. I also need to take that with me. I have custom tables that are storing all this different configuration, whatever it may be. I need to bring that with me in my journey to the cloud as well. Don't tell SAP, I think that might be a little bit outside of their best plan for everybody should go standard. But of course, the reality is oftentimes customers need to bring that information. They need to keep running those processes even when they've moved to the cloud. And therefore, we have the tools to support that as well. So we can jump to the next slide. Cool. This one I like a lot. This one I think is super exciting. This is where we talk about the data migration for Easy Go Live. So right now in Easy Go Live, you have the ability to migrate data super easy from SAP HCM to Employee Central, for example. You have the ability super easy to migrate data from SAP HCM to Employee Central Payroll. Those are really standard, really strong capabilities already in Easy Go Live. And what this now does is give us the ability to say, you know what, I actually also need to bring data from another system. That could be I'm migrating from a legacy system, some local payroll system. I'm migrating from an outsourced payroll, I'm bringing it in-house, or even just, well, you know, I have most of my HR data in one system and I have some specific data in another system and I need to combine those together. And this capability as part of Easy Go Live really allows us to leverage external data or even transform data directly in the system and update info type data directly. So that's super exciting. I think especially when it comes to consolidation projects, okay, let's take all these legacy systems and push them into Employee Central Payroll and other types of more complex projects. So we can go to the next one. So for the parallel run, I think there's really a lot here. I can't try to summarize it all into a specific slide and cover off as much as possible, but it's really a very, very powerful and huge area that we've built out here. So a couple of the key points, really, when we're going through the process of a parallel run, and I think this is super critical for any project, any customer who is moving from a successfully running working payroll system to a new payroll system. Normally everybody says, well, if your system is working, don't touch it, just stay where you are. But we're getting the pressure now to say, customers, you need to move, you should move. You'll get more benefit from moving, but you don't want to touch that running system, and you especially don't want to all of a sudden get to a new system and find different results from what you expect. So the parallel run capabilities of Easy Go Live are really there to allow a project to say, yes, we've checked every single thing we needed to check. Everything is working as we expect. If it's not, we know why. We've tagged it as a known issue. We've logged it defect. We've kind of tracked all of those, and we have the audit log. We have the information. We can always go back and check what that was. Super important from a project perspective to have that reporting capability. So I can show it to, for example, the steering committee of the project as I'm going through, but also later on to have that audit capability. So you can say, well, we know, you know what, this issue's popped up. Actually, we saw that in the parallel run and we know exactly what was the cause. We know exactly how we resolved it, and we know exactly what we need to do in the future with those same types of issues. So it really gives you a very powerful tool. So it's not only very powerful, but the other thing I would say is we've really extended that out to also make it easier to use. So not just saying, yeah, someone has to go in and mark a status every time they see a particular issue, but also giving you the capability to build that into the intelligence of the reports. Okay, if you ever see this difference due to this wage type, flag it already, and we know automatically that that's a known issue, that it relates to a specific defect. Those types of capabilities to really build out the smarts of the project to really super accelerate the checking, super accelerate the testing, but without sacrificing any quality and without introducing additional risk to the project. And the last point I talked to, sorry, one more. If you could go back quickly. The last point I just wanted to point out down the bottom here, you can see a nice screenshot from the system, which is really, we've taken that back from, I guess the tool was always very powerful, that's clear, but we also are now improving the usability and making it a lot simpler, especially because we know oftentimes in these projects, if you're a customer moving to Employee Central Payroll, you may have people who are involved in the project who are not super technical experts in SAP. Especially if you're moving from a legacy environment or you're moving from a combination of different systems into Employee Central Payroll. All of a sudden you're seeing this system, let's be honest, it's still SAP GUI, and you're thinking, okay, what do I do? So you need a usable tool, you need something that's going to help you out with those testing processes, and that's where the Easy Go Live usability improvements are super important. Okay, now we can go ahead. Thank you, Anna. And the other thing that we've also done here, so this is, I guess, a bit more for those larger projects, for those companies who have many people involved in the testing, who need to be able to separate duties between, okay, who's checking master data, who's checking payroll, who's checking finance information, you know, all of those types of things. What we can do now directly in the Easy Go Live tool is we can very easily set up teams. So those people who are working on certain areas can actually only investigate those particular areas. So you see a very simple example here. And this is where I've created a team for the payroll areas I'm the expert in. Let's be honest, I'm not the expert, but anyway, for the example of our demonstration here, I'm the expert in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And my colleague Darren is the expert in Sweden, Denmark, and Finland. So anytime we go into the tool, we see those issues that we should be the experts on, that we should be able to investigate, and we can resolve through the tool. And managing that automatically within the tool means we don't have to then worry about also any kind of issues with access to data or any kind of, yeah, someone's gone and marked that as correct, even though they don't really understand the payroll rules for that particular country. So we can go on to the next one. And this is one where we really are going to see, I think, a massive acceleration in the projects, which is as part of that parallel run tool, we're also constantly enhancing and extending our content library for those tools. So when it comes to the testing, say you want to, you can see, for example, say I need to compare some time evaluation data between my old system and my new system. I have that report already built. All I have to do is run it through Easy Go Live and I immediately see the differences. I don't even have to go and set anything up. I basically just tell it, this is my new system, this is my old system, show me what's the difference. So we really have, you can see, built out a lot of standard content, especially covering info types, time, and payroll. And we'll continue to build that out as we go, as we work on additional projects, as we see new requirements from our customers and from our partners. And if you ever say, well, you know what, we really need some specific stuff, just let us know and we can add that into the tool and kind of explore that as well. And we can go to the next one. So I think that's it from the side of the migration and the go live. So like I said at the start, that's really a set of tools that were built specifically for that HXM move process, but they are leveraging the power of all of our existing tools. So I will talk about also now our other solutions, some of the other Easy Suite solutions and the updates that have come there. And these are ones, like I said, that will be available in the near future. So from the Easy Reporter side, there's some big changes. To be honest, when I saw these changes coming out, I was very excited. These are things, some of these things I've been waiting a very long time for and have been asking a lot, and I'm really see the need for, so I'm super excited. The first one being enhanced merging in the reports. This is a bit more of a technical one, a bit more for those people who've built a lot of reports, who've built some really complex stuff. But basically what it means is we've always had the ability to merge the report, but now we have a lot more options there, and it gives us a lot more power, especially when we're reporting across a number of different data sets. And we know that's a really key capability of Easy Reporter, bringing those data sets together and merging them into a logical report. So having that additional capability is super helpful. The bulk job scheduling, I think, is also really nice. This is one I immediately thought, I really wish I had that like 3 months ago for the last project that I was working on, because this allows us to basically build out a schedule of all of the reports we want to run on a regular basis. And we can already just build that one time in Easy Reporter and commit it to the system, that the system will do that automatically for us. Like I said, the last project I worked on, I think I ended up scheduling something like 100 different background jobs for all of the different reports we were automating. This one we were automating once a week. This one we were doing every month, all this kind of stuff. But this bulk scheduling capability will really make that super easy, single screen and Easy Reporter, really easy to use, and straight away automating a lot of those processes in the tool. The exception reporting, this one is super nice as well. This is where we can now very easily see, okay, I want to run a report, bring out all of the data that's relevant to me, but before I send it out to the managers or before I share it with somebody else, quickly highlight directly in that report as well, what exceptions might I need to know about? So I have a full payroll register but the exception reporting is going to highlight to me, hey, by the way, this guy's probably getting paid too much. Hey, maybe this wage type is not relevant for these employees, et cetera, and really quickly allows us to build some very powerful reporting. And the last one down the bottom, I think this is actually a little bit more in the Easy Go Live direction, but also very helpful in Easy Reporter. That's when we're building an interface file to push data out from Easy Reporter. We've made it a lot easier to really configure the exact layout of those files. It was always very powerful, but it's also now easier to use, and especially when it comes to interfacing files out for Employee Central. That's why I said it's more of an Easy Go Live capability. So we can go to the next one. Then not only is it Easy Reporter, but we also have a couple really important things on top of Easy Reporter. The first one is the web reporting tool, which allows us to run any Easy Reporter report from your browser. It's an OpenUI 5 Fiori tool. There's a couple, big ones, I would say. Definitely the first two. So used to be always you would run a report in web reporting, you see a result, you can drill down, you can download the file, great, you can get the data that you need, but you couldn't really work with the data in the tool. And that's where we've said those first 2 points are really important. We had a couple customers who said, hey, we really need this because we're rolling out all of these reports to our HR departments. They're able to run the reports, they're able to access the reports, but they're running huge long lists of every employee or every position in the system. They need to be able to search, they need to be able to sort, and we don't want them downloading the data. The last thing we want is someone running a report in Easy Reporter, downloading an Excel file, and then they have all this sensitive data on their own system. No, we don't do that. We want them to work with it in the system. And that's why we built out this capability to really make it a lot easier for those users to quickly get the data that they need and work with that data in the tool. And there'll be more coming on that in the future, of course, as well. And also always important to point out every time we make these performance improvements, we have a couple very large customers, I would say, who are using the web reporting tool heavily. So one specific customer that comes to my mind in the Netherlands is just over 100,000 employees, and they're running all of their reporting through the web reporting view. So they're an Employee Central payroll customer. They need to be able to access data for that kind of population, for that kind of information quickly. So what we've really had to do is improve that performance. And there's a lot of stuff there. I mean, there's not a lot of detail in the slide, but we've done a lot of work to make that a lot faster and really a super nice to use tool. Okay, we can go to the next one. So on top of the other thing that fits in with Easy Reporter is the Easy Reporter Success Factors connector. So we've made a few changes here as well. Of course, this one is also a very popular tool. The first one up is it used to be really difficult to get time balances from Employee Central. So there's a special way that they structure the data in Employee Central, and especially when you report it out using the APIs. So we had to do a little bit of work in Easy Reporter, but now it's super easy. Now you could just pull that data directly as part of having that connector. We've also enhanced the date reporting option. So in the past, it was basically, at a point in time, I want some data from SuccessFactors. And now we have the capability of accessing historical records for those effective dated entities as well. So I can ask for all of the positions a person has in SuccessFactors rather than what position are they in today. The selection fields, really just especially important. We've seen this, a lot of these changes are coming from those customers who are on Employee Central Payroll, or just Employee Central as their front end, because they don't want to have to kind of deal with the back end. They don't want to have to deal with the old world. They want everything to be EC focused. And so what we've done is given the ability to use basically a set of standard Employee Central fields. So all the big ones you would think about, things like department, position, business unit, etc. Easily add those as a selection criteria to any Easy Reporter report, whether it's Employee Central based or SAP based. and have drop downs and everything. So it really feels like you're running a report in Employee Central, even though you're using the power of the back end with Easy Reporter. And the last one down there, which is super nice, SAP announced that they will be retiring the basic authentication for the APIs for Employee Central. This will be happening in the release 2022 H2, if I get the name right. I always can't remember, but definitely later in this year. They will retire that completely. That means you will no longer be able to use it. And of course, that means we've upgraded Easy Reporter to use the OAuth options for authentication. What's super nice about this as a bonus, so of course we had to do it because we needed the OAuth. As a bonus, we also made it work now with the single sign-on. So previously we always had an API user. Now we can really access that Employee Central data based on the logged in user as well instead, which is a nice extra feature. Okie doke. Now, Easy Clone. So from an Easy Clone side, in the on-prem Easy Clone world, I think we're all comfortable that it's a very mature solution. We're not doing huge, crazy changes there. So what we see here are some important ones. One is we can now use any other kind of custom employee related tables. So those customers who have some custom solutions in place, who have some additional tables they need to clone, which are non-standard, can easily add them directly into Easy Clone themselves. And that means they can include whatever data they want when they're doing the clone. Doesn't just have to be what we deliver as a standard. The second one, more for those customers who are operating in the US. We've also now included tax reporter cloning because that was becoming super important when it comes to testing the tax reporter functionality for those customers. And as always, we continue to localize a little bit further for specific countries. Anytime we get a customer and they say, hey, by the way, we also need this info type, or hey, by the way, we also need these clusters, then we go and add those into the tool as well. So we can go to the next one. And then from the Easy Clone side, where we really are seeing and building, I would say, more of the capability and more of the demand is in the SuccessFactors side. So especially as more customers move to the cloud, they're saying, yes, it's great. I really need to be able to clone my payroll data. But what about Employee Central? And how do I keep those systems in sync? And how do I make sure all of the data is cloned from those systems as well? So a couple of things, well, actually a lot has been done in that space. The first one, and this is definitely the biggest one, is the ability to clone data that's only in Employee Central. So right now, in the existing version of Easy Clone, we're cloning really hybrid focused. We're saying clone an SAP HCM employee and clone the related Employee Central data. But this is going to allow us to say, hey, there's an employee in Employee Central. So it could be a contingent worker, for example. I need to clone their data, even though they don't exist in SAP HCM. And that's what this capability allows us to do. We saw this as super important for those customers who, like I said, contingent workers is one really good use case. Or, hey, I have a German payroll, but I'm operating in all these other countries, Switzerland, Austria, da-da-da-da-da. They are only on Employee Central. They're not in the payroll system. I need to be able to clone them too. So this takes us one step closer to really pure cloud cloning, being able to clone data just in Employee Central. Super helpful. The next one, and this is a bit more specific to kind of country requirements, but really helpful. We've just added some really powerful scrambling rules for Employee Central that allows us to generate unique national ID numbers. So this is really one for those guys who've tried this. SuccessFactors will always check, hey, is your national ID number correct? Number one, is it a valid number that passes a check digit routine? And number two, is it unique? And if not, it's going to fail. Sorry, we can't update that data. So we needed a way to really generate those random numbers to really anonymize that data properly. And so that's available now as part of the cloning. We've also included the attachments. So especially things like employee work permits, where I have the data in Employee Central, but I have a document attached. I want to bring that document when I copy the data as well. I can do that now. And second to last, country specific. So especially for those especially when you look at things like national ID, you look at things like address formats, you look at things like bank account number formats, etc. Being able to configure those scrambling rules at a country level allows us more flexibility when it comes to those large customers, multinational customers. And the last one, again, same as we saw on the Easy Reporter side, is that OAuth basic authentication change that's coming. We had to, of course, add it in here in Easy Clone. One other bonus here is I also mentioned the SSO, but we've also then consolidated both tools configuration together. So you can configure your connection to SuccessFactors in one place. Easy Clone and Easy Reporter will use that same configuration. So we used to always have to do it in 2 different places. Cool. Then I think we can go to the next one. I think this is the last one. This is just to give you an update on Payroll Control Center, what we're doing in that space. So again, a very robust tool, very mature already, especially because it's mainly based on Easy Reporter. But we're doing work to, of course, just improve it, make it easier, accelerate the implementation. So we enhanced the report configuration screen, made that easier to use. And down the bottom, we also made it a lot faster and easier to add additional reports. And the one in the middle, I like this a lot, is we added the ability to report on the Payroll Control Center audit log. So every time you work in Payroll Control Center, you go and say, oh, this exception is resolved. I understand the issue with this one. I'm going to write a note. You put all of that into the system. There's an audit log, so you can always go back and view, hey, what happened to this person in the last few pay periods, da-da-da-da-da. But it's a big, long audit log. It's a lot like every other audit log in SAP. It's huge. It's a lot of data. Now we have the ability to report on that here. And what that means, it enables some really interesting use cases like, okay, I see an exception for this employee. Show me all of the times that this has happened in the past to the same employee, and what did I do to resolve it last time? Ah, I see. I've always said it's okay because that's something that's included in his contract. This time I can make the same solution. So it really just enhances that ability to work with the data from the Payroll Control Center. And then I think we can go one more. Very good. So if you want to know more about all of those, so I touched on a lot there, Easy Reporter, Easy Clone, Easy PCC. We will be running some deep dive sessions. So the first one will be Easy Reporter. That's going to be hosted by Anna for us. She's going to really deep dive into what those new capabilities are, some use cases, some demonstrations, really show you what they do. I will be running the Easy Clone session, and I will also be running a session to recap Easy PCC and see what's possible there and how we can accelerate the implementation. The plan is, we don't have the dates finalized for that. They will be finalized and sent out. We will plan it before the release is available, but the sessions will be held after. Our thinking there is we've given a bit of a preview, and what we're hoping is customers can request those new transports when they want them, get those new releases already in their system. And when we run these sessions, they'll be able to see those changes live, as well as walking along with us and really understanding those new capabilities. Okay, if you want to subscribe, if you want to attend those sessions, if you want to find out more information about any of those changes, please subscribe to the newsletter. Any customer, any partner, anybody who wants to know more about the solutions, just jump in there, subscribe to the newsletter, and also you can see the link down the bottom there if you want to dig in and find your own information about each of the solutions. So customer success stories. If we can jump to the next slide. Again, we're focusing in this space on migration projects, easy go live projects. The first one is, you may have seen this already, we've been promoting this on LinkedIn and in other social media channels. We had a customer named Stepan. They're actually in the US, but this was a project run by, interestingly enough, a very close colleague of ours in APAC. This was a project from a customer who had an existing SAP HCM system, wanted to move to Employee Central Payroll. This was a project where they basically spent I think from memory, I wasn't involved personally, but I've spoken to the guys about it quite a lot. They spent around 2 to 3 weeks doing all the initial planning and setup. Okay, what do we need to transform? What don't we transform? What kind of rules do we need to build in? And then they really spent 1 weekend migrating that system. So they started on a Friday morning, they were done by Friday afternoon, and then Saturday and Sunday they had time to verify everything before they opened the system back up. So it was really a super fast, super smooth process. And of course, they used Easy Migration and Easy Go Live to make sure that that was a success. So we can jump to the next one. And this is just to give you an idea of what are the other projects that we're working on, especially as it relates to Easy Migration and Easy Go Live. I think it's nice to see here that in the region here, we have, well, we don't have the most, but we have almost the most projects in this space. This is an area which we're really happy to be involved in with our partners. In North America, they're a little bit slower somehow. And in ANZ, of course, they're also pushing very hard. Just to talk a little bit about some of these to give you an idea of why these customers are using the tools, what value they're getting out of them. So I think the key ones are, the first one up on the top left there is actually a project we already completed. They're already live. It was a live system and they needed to do some transformation within that system. And so they said, we need a tool that's going to help us transform our customizing, that's going to help us transform our employee data, and really our live data and our historical data. And so we were able to complete that project. I don't remember how long we took with that one actually now from the top of my head, but it was pretty quick. We did it also, I think, over just before Christmas, if I remember.
It was a very big one, yeah, indeed.
To make sure that we were ready for the new financial year, but that was a really a good, successful project.
Yeah.
The next 3 in this region that are currently ongoing. So they're not all live yet, but they're all ongoing. The first one is a really big, complex one. And this one I talked to a little bit at the start, which is we really needed to be able to support those more complex harmonization projects, people getting ready to move to the cloud, people kind of having different needs in the project space. And they are merging 5 running SAP HCM systems, 1 legacy system into an existing SAP system. So that's where you see, hey, we need these really complex mapping capabilities. Hey, we need this info type update capability. Hey, we need all of these mappings and matchings of data. That's really going to be a really super exciting project. We have a couple, I would say this retail one, I'm hoping is going to be a relatively easy one. That's really a comprehensive payroll comparison project. So they're moving from an existing SAP HCM based system into Employee Central Payroll. They're hoping to do essentially a lift and shift, but they will have to do a lot of validation because they're coming from a system, they don't own the system, it's an outsourced system, and they're coming into their own in-house system. So they need to do a lot of validation and really be comfortable with what the system's going to do. And the last one there is also quite a complex one. I think we have, I'm looking at who's in the partner list if someone from that team is here. And this one's going from a really highly customized SAP HCM system into Employee Central Payroll, and we're going to be using Easy Go Live as the data migration and testing tool for that project. So that's a really important one. I won't go through and list all of them, but I think that the ones that we're working on in the region give us a really good, interesting view for what are all of those different types of projects, how are we supporting them, how are we accelerating them and ensuring their success. And I think that's probably then enough from me. I think if we go to the next slide, that's your turn, Frank.
Thanks, Bretton. Very interesting presentation. And yeah, I think it's also interesting for the participants here. Yeah, with the following slides, I just want to give you an outlook of what's coming next with our partners and what we are going to do in order to run some marketing activities. So as you have seen, or as you can see here on the first line, so the coffee and news webinar. So this is the first one in a series. We will run this webinar once per quarter. So as I said, this is the first one this year. So the second one will follow. And also 2 other ones in the Q3 and Q4. Then the next event is the Future Personal or Zukunft Personal, which will happen in Stuttgart. So here in our region in Baden-Württemberg, Germany. So this will be at the 5th and 6th of April. So if you want to join us, if you want to visit the fair, please come back to me. We have still some tickets, some free tickets available. So you don't have to buy a ticket by yourself, so we can give you a free ticket if interested. And there are also a very interesting topics when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to HR operational topics, and so on. So very good. And then the next one is we will also run a permanent LinkedIn campaign for Strato Easy Migration, Easy Clone. So this will start this month until the next 3 months, I guess. And then in the second, nearly in the second half of this year, we will have the DESAG Personaltage in Berlin. Then there will be a partner event from Solaris as well in June. And we have another Future Personal in Cologne. Maybe we'll see if we will be there, but it's still planned. And then there's a very important one in Paris, which will be happening in October. It's the Unleash. So this is also a very important fair when it comes to SAP and all the HR topics. A very international event. So if you want to join us, please let us know. So we will be there with a booth. So maybe we can also give you some free tickets for this event if you are interested. So far, so good. That's what happens the next days, weeks, and months in terms of marketing activities. And here is another slide to make some in-house marketing for our Zendesk tool. So if you have not yet registered to our partner portal, don't hesitate to do that. You will find a lot of marketing materials on our partner portal, also partner guides, additional tips and tricks to our tools, and much more documents and resources. So it's even worth to have a look at it. All right, thank you everybody, and have a great day. Take care.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Thanks so long. Bye-bye. Ciao.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Talk to us today to learn more.